David, when you got pushback from liberals saying, how could you work with the enemy? That was President Bush's Solicitor General. What was your response to some of the attacks both of you received, and I know you've been kind about it, but both of you received some vicious and awful attacks from a lot of supporters?
Well, I really have two answers, each of which I think were totally conclusive. The first thing that I said was that there is not a better lawyer in the country, and I've got the scars to prove it. And this time I want him on my side, not on the other side. The second thing that I said is that this issue really is not a liberal or conservative, Republican or Democratic issue. This really is a civil rights, a human rights, a constitutional rights issue. This is an issue about family values. And those are as much conservative values as they are liberal values. They're as much Republican values as there are Democratic values. And as Ted says, probably the leading conservative libertarian organization in the country is the Cato Institute. And the Cato Institute has been a strong supporter of marriage equality because they believe that these are conservative, human, individual values, and that the government ought to stay out of people's bedrooms. They ought to stay out of people's personal lives. So this was, not only is Ted a great lawyer, but the principles that were at stake here are the kind of principles that he has fought for throughout his legal career.
When do you think same-sex marriage will be legal in 50 states, and how?
A year ago, Chad Griffin of the American Foundation for Equal Rights said that we were going to have marriage equality in 50 states in 5 years. Today, we have 19 states, including in the District of Columbia, where you have marriage equality. Those jurisdictions represent 43% of the American people. There are another dozen states representing another 26% of the American people where bans on same-sex marriage have been held to be unconstitutional, but that decision is stayed pending appeal. So if you add those two together, you've got 71%, more than 71% of the American people. So I think we are well on track. Since last June, when the Supreme Court decided our case and decided the Windsor case, I think 13 or 14 federal judges have decided the issue of whether the federal Constitution bars state laws prohibiting same-sex marriage. Every one of those judges has decided the same way. Every one of those judges has decided the federal Constitution forbids states from preventing gay and lesbian citizens from marrying the person they love. Those are people who have been appointed by 3 Republican presidents and 2 Democratic presidents. They are people, judges in blue states like Michigan, Oregon, purple states like Ohio and Pennsylvania, Virginia, red states like Utah and Oklahoma and Indiana and Texas. So it's all across the country, it's all across the political spectrum. Judges, one after another, are deciding these cases. Now, a number of states have decided this, including our home state of New York, but through the legislature. You've had some states like Iowa and Massachusetts who have decided it not on the federal Constitution, but on the state Constitution. There are many roads to marriage equality, and I'm convinced that we are going to see 50 states within the next 5 years from last June. And it may very well be that it comes from the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court did not decide this case for the entire country. They simply left in place our decision in California that the California statute proposition was unconstitutional. They may very well hear a case a year from now, and that could decide it even quicker.